All right. We are live.
What's up, Dustin?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Good.
Outdoors.
Outdoors. We in the great outdoors today.
How's the weather over there?
Oh, it's nice, man. It's like 70 degrees right now.
It was 60 here today,
Yeah.
so not too bad. Let me get this live video up for us.
All right.
Have to do something special to get there.
Oh, I see I got a little share button too. I can share it to all my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Share button too.
Oops. This one is what we need.
We got some people watching, Dustin.
Do we? How many?
I mean, it says 5.
All
That's
right.
more than we had. So this is kind of exciting. This is our first time trying this, so I don't know how it's gonna go, but we'll see how it goes. Only one way to learn. Get out
Mm-hmm.
there and try.
All right. I'm going to share this link.
All right. Ooh, it says we got 16 people.
Awesome. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat. Ron and I will do some discussion over the questions, and then be happy to answer anything that you may have.
Look, I see people. They're like hi, and they're saying hey, and they're saying good evening, good evening. I see it. I see you guys. That's awesome. We got people actually watching. I'm
All right,
surprised. It's good.
put this up on the chat. Let me get it up.
This is good stuff. So Dustin,
Yeah.
what have you been doing during this quarantine, man? I actually can see it. I can actually see it. Well, I can sort of see the questions.
Yeah, so
Oh yeah,
I
yeah, this is good.
I just shared it into my page. We have the chat up on the screen. But anyways, what have I been doing during quarantine?
Yes.
Working, and that's about it. I'm
Man, look.
luckily
Go
I'm
ahead.
staying busy. Um, but yeah, not much of anything other than that.
It's. So look, Nate said, Ron, I like the cup. Where can I get one? Man, we're working on it, Nate. Check this out. Look what I got right here.
There you go.
Wait till you see this. You never know. You never know how these things they just happen. They just happen. I do miss bowling. I'm gonna tell you what I miss the most. I miss like the interaction on a consistent basis and being able to put out just tons and tons and tons of bowling content. I really
Hmm.
miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been really weird. I mean, I don't bowl that much anymore, other than doing league and occasional tournaments. But it's been really weird. I haven't bowled in almost 4 weeks. That's like the longest
That's a
time for
month.
me in over a year.
Yeah, that's a month, man. That's a month.
So
I'm adjusting my seat because I see like where you put the chat at. I need to be over here so that I'm not on top of the chat.
yeah, move to your left just a little bit.
Well, I went just a little too
There
far.
you
I went a
go.
little.
You're
I went a
perfect.
little. Hang on. There we go. Now I think I might be good.
You're perfect right there.
All right. Let me see what kind of questions we got here.
All
So
right. All right.
what we got?
How would you pick a ball up in the clear if your bowling ball has turbo switch grip outer?
Okay. So I mean, basically the thumb hole is pointing still directly up. Hopefully it doesn't have a lot of liquid in it. If it's got some in it, it's not going to be the end of the world. But basically, I would put my switch grip in there, lock it in place, and pull the ball out. right? That's what I would do to get the ball out. I wouldn't have it in there on the front side, but once you are done with the clear and you have your thumb, I stick it in, lock it in, pull the ball out, and then you should be good to go.
Any good exercises that will keep me in shape for bowling?
Man, look, there's a few. Um, I can tell you, Storm put out a pretty good video a couple of days ago showing some exercises you can do with a bowling ball. I like that video that they did. I've actually been working on a couple myself that we're going to be able to do. We're going to do it with the bowling ball that doesn't have any holes in it though. So we're actually going to do it with. I'm going to have a CTD spare ball with no holes in it, and we're going to use it like a weight. So that's kind of our plan. But we will have that out next week for sure. So for right now, I would say go check out the Storm page. They posted some videos, which you can do, and then next week or this coming week, come back and see us, and then we'll have some more additional videos you can do.
Yeah, let me see if we have any additional questions here. How does tilt and rotation affect ball choice?
So I think the best way to describe it is tilt and rotation are a description of the bowler. So the more tilt you have, which means your axis point, it actually is tilted this way, vertical. Rotation would be tilted this way, horizontal. The more of either one of those you have, the more your ball is going to get down the lane before it makes a move. So guys that have high amounts of tilt, their ball's going to get way down the lane before it makes a move. Guys that have high amounts of rotation, their ball's going to get down the lane before it makes a move. Your bowling ball, when it uses up all of the tilt and rotation that you put on it, and it's at zero. That's when the ball rolls straight. So basically, when you release the ball, you've got some sort of tilt and rotation. But as the ball goes down the lane and begins to make the move, if it begins to roll forward, roll out, there's zero tilt, zero rotation. So how does that play in the bowling balls? What I would say is guys that are higher tilts, higher rotations tend to fare better with asymmetric bowling balls because asymmetric bowling balls will tend to use that energy up a little bit faster, which will give them more total hook. Guys that are low tilts, low rotations, their bowling balls will hook too early when they use asymmetric bowling balls, so they will try to stay away from those bowling balls. And from a layout standpoint specifically, guys that the more tilt rotation you have, the stronger you can drill the ball. The closer to that 3 3/8 inches you can get to the PAP. Whereas a person that doesn't have any tilt rotation, you need to stay farther away from that spot, 5.5, 6.5 inches from your PAP to get the bowling ball to store that energy. So really, at the end of the day, tilt and rotation does have a massive impact on ball selection, but it's more tied to giving you the ability to control when the bowling ball is going to use the energy up.
Yeah, I think it's also good to note that you should have your pro shop operator look at these things. If that's your first time going to them, they need to get your axis, see how your tilt and rotation are. If they have the ability to measure it with like Bowler ID, that's super important. If you're going to a pro shop operator for the first time, they really need to get that information to get you the arsenal that would work for you the best.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we had someone ask in regards to how surface layout, cover, and core can affect ball motion. The question was, why would you get any of your balls drilled differently? And why wouldn't you have the pin set in the same spot if surface would affect it the most? Would it be better to have all your balls drilled the exact same way and just play with the surface? So he really wants to know what the importance is for layout.
So I think, to kind of answer that question, I think at the end of the day, you probably only need a couple of layouts. 2 layouts, and the rest of the ball motion you can get with the other variables, surface, cover, primarily. I mean, I would tell you that a lot of times the guys on tour that do this for a living, they only have a couple layouts. They have a couple layouts and they get the rest with the surface and the bowling ball they select.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's key to keep that in mind is that you can get a lot of the performance. Over half the performance is in the cover stock, is in the finish anyway. So if you have the surface right of your bowling ball, you can get a lot of ball reactions to be what you're looking to do anyway with using Surface, which is why we kind of went the direction of spending so much time talking about Surface in general.
What's the easiest way to get my PAP when I don't have a chance to get with my PSO?
So we just posted a video in the staff group. I don't know if you're a staffer or not. If you're a
Yeah,
staffer,
he is.
good. So you can look at the video that we posted in the group with Stanton. We posted that probably 2 days ago, I think, Dustin. And it shows you exactly how to get the PAP if you don't have a pro shop operator to do it for you.
When using the TrueCut pads wet, do you have to use So Fresh and So Clean, or can you use water?
You can use water. Absolutely, you can use water.
And just did a resurface with TrueCut pads and polish on my Storm Physics. Came out awesome. Does TrueCut have a polish for 2000 grit?
So no. So I don't. I think the question is, what is 2000 grit
Polish? Yeah.
Yeah. So no, there's a lot of misinformation about that whole process. 2000 grit polish, 1500 grit polish, and what that really means. A lot of times, the confusion is when manufacturers say 2000 grit polish or 1500 grit polish, the grit that they're using, if it's a sanding grit, isn't necessarily what it cuts the bowling ball at. So a 2000 grit Abralon pad doesn't cut a bowling ball at 2000 grit, which is why you can have a 2000 grit polish. When you talk about like Storm is really big on 1500 grit polish, and what they're talking about is the grit that they use in their polish starts out at like 320 grit and breaks down to 1500 grit, but it's actually a liquid polish, a compound. So what I would tell somebody is what you want to focus on to get around or to get through or to understand all that is what is the final finish number. And on bowling balls that are polished, doesn't matter pretty much how they do it, the bowling balls that are polished is between 5,000 and 5,500 typically. So if you have a shiny ball and you want to get that back and you're using our product, you want to use the 3,000 grit pad first, then followed by P5000D by hand, which will be 4,000, and then you finish it up with the TrueCut polish, which will get you to 5,500. So that's really the way to look at it. You want to focus on what the ending grit is, or what the grit is on the ball, not so much what the manufacturer says the process is, because those pads that they use, even though they're polished, they don't cut at what those numbers are.
All right. Has anyone ever made a conical shaped core?
Conical shaped.
Conical?
Not that I'm aware of. You'd have some issues demolding that. So you'd have some issues getting that apart. But it doesn't mean that it hasn't been done before. But I can't think of it off the top of my head. Anybody who's done a shape like that.
All right. If your ball is not hooking like it used to, what can you do to get it back? Get ball on the lane sooner, or what? So what it sounds like, I don't know, a loss in performance, or it's laboring down lane?
I mean, we can address both of them, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
If it's a loss of performance, obviously, then it's clear, right? You use the clear product that's made to bring the performance back to your bowling ball. If it's a physical thing, you're bowling with the ball and the ball's not picking up fast enough. If you're in practice, you can still sand the ball, right? So you'd want to sand the ball to a lower grit than whatever it's at to get the ball to pick up a little bit sooner. If you can't do that and you're stuck with the ball, you're already bowling or whatever, you're in a physical game situation, then it's about trying to get your hand to get the bowling ball to get into a roll sooner. That's where losing that axis rotation and or tilt will help, which would be more like releasing the ball more on the back side of the ball as opposed to the side of the ball. The more up the back of it you are, the more you're likely to get that ball to start up a little bit sooner. You can also slow down, right? Slow down and give yourself a little bit more time to hook. That's also another way to be able to get you a little bit more hook as well.
Yeah, there's a bunch of videos, not only in Ron's channel, but we also have a blog on the website, c2dbowling.com, in regards to the clear, if you want some more information on that product. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll be more than happy to get those answered for you. We will drive the live stream on your questions. So if you have any...
I'm checking my ribs over here, Dustin.
Checking your ribs? All right.
I got some ribs on the grill.
Ron's making the chat ribs.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to check them out. Y'all want to see them? You want to see them?
Sure.
All right, let me see if I can make this happen. Let's see. I got to pick this up. Don't worry, that was my phone.
Not
Can you
important.
see it?
Turn it to your left.
That way?
Yep, there you go. Perfect.
There you go. See? Getting it done, man.
There you go.
I think my dad's on his way over here anyway. He's gonna have some.
Uh,
Oh yeah, shut the grill. Hold on. Go ahead.
where can we
Ask some
get?
more questions.
We had another question about the cup.
The special CTD cup.
Uh-huh.
So look, this is what I told you, right? So the one that I got in my hand, this one right here, this one actually was a gift. It was a gift to me, but this one right here could be a gift to you. You never know. You never know when these things will pop up. So we're working on something. Working on something.
So, any points of discussion that are on your mind?
Yeah, man. I think once we get past all this craziness and we get back to bowling, I think we're going to have some challenges. I think we should do something like live stream challenges with staffers. Like you're at league or I'm at league or they're at league, and we can, because here's the thing. The one thing that I've learned about this whole process, about the whole social distancing thing, is you find other ways to interact. And one way to interact is with this whole setup right here. So somehow, some way, we're gonna figure out how to have virtual challenges with people. I don't know how we're gonna do it yet, but we're gonna do it.
Cool. All right, we got a couple questions. When we get back into the centers and are able to use the Dry Pad Pro and they get dirty, how do we go about cleaning them? It's the same process as the BFP and the Power Pad, correct?
Yep, same process. Get you a little Dawn dishwashing soap from the sink. Get in the sink first. Get all the nastiness out of it. Throw it in the washer with the regular detergent. Wash it. Let it air dry. All done.
For lane burn, would you go 500 then the recommended finish? Talking about lane shine?
Yeah, let's pretend that's what you meant, lane shot.
Okay.
So what I would do is it depends, right? So what I would do is I would look at the finish of the ball, and using True Cut, you go to the last step. So if the ball's 500, 1000, 2000 polish, I would go 2000 grit, then I would go 3000 P5000D polish. If it was a 2000 grit sanded ball and it lane shined up, I would just go, and it was 500, 1000, 2000, I would just go right to 2000 grit and be done. So it just kind of depends on if the ball's sandy, you're going to just go right to that last step. You don't have to do the 500 grit step, because the same thing. At the factory, that 500 grit isn't cutting the ball at 500 grit. So same kind of thing.
All right. This is an interesting question. Any thoughts about the new USBC lane classifications that will be coming out in the future?
I think they're trying to do something to make it a little bit more defined. I think we need to kind of wait and see how it pans out to see if that's good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. But I would say that we need to all give it a fair chance, right? I mean, at the end of the day, the way the process had been before, it wasn't effective. So they're trying to do something different, and I applaud them for trying to do something different.
Mm-hmm. Do you do any virtual lessons?
We have. We actually have. We've used Facebook before as a way to be able to do a virtual lesson. And obviously with this technology here that exists now, I mean, that's something that we definitely will be heavily doing, I think, more, especially once we come out of this whole deal.
Sure. All right, Ron. What has been the most exciting thing for you since starting CTD?
Having a staff. That's easy.
Yeah?
Simply because the staff is a way to be able to interact on a daily basis with other people in bowling. At the heart, CTD is an educational company. That's what we do. We do education. So to be able to create a staff, to be able to interact with the staff on a daily basis, that's probably the single most exciting thing to be able to do. Because check it out, nobody's bowling, but we still interact every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely cool. Definitely cool for sure.
And if you are on our staff, you can join for free on ctdbowling.com. There's a short form to fill out if you are interested in joining. It's completely free. We do, like Ron mentioned, we do stuff with the staff every night. Kahoot, which is like a quiz game for prizes. That's completely free to join. I have a Storm High Road Pearl. I typically sand it to 2000 grit, which reacts great. But I asked the pro shop to sand my ball to 2000 prior to a tournament, and they actually gave it back to me polished. The ball actually reacted better than the 2000 grit sanding I did. How do you think they did that? I want to try this at home on my own ball spinner.
I mean, he probably used a 2000 grit Aberlon pad, and then he probably used the Storm Step 2 polish. Because Storm Step 2, that's kind of that is what they use at the factory. And that would get the High Road Pearl back to that factory finish.
All right.
So if it's me in that position and you're trying to do that, 1500 or the Storm Step 2 polish ends up sanding, they're having the ball finish at about 5000 grit. So if you're using our pads, it's just going to be 2000, 3000 P, 5000 D with the True Cut Handle Pie polish. If you want to use the Storm polish and you've got it, then it's just going to be the 2000, 3000, and then use the Storm polish, the Storm Step 2.
All right. Just looking through the questions, make sure we didn't miss anything.
So let me ask you something, Dustin.
Sure.
Someone who's relatively recently out of college.
Almost 2 years ago now.
Oh no, it's going by. That's way later than I've been out of college. I've been in college for a long time. But like, how would you feel if you didn't get a graduation?
I don't know. I think I wouldn't feel cheated, but I feel like I missed something that I'm supposed to get at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I don't think I wouldn't be mad, but I wouldn't be, I guess, hateful towards the people that made that decision. Because with this whole, I guess, world that we're living in right now, you have to have some sort of understanding as to what's going on, why they're doing certain things they are, and then you just kind of have to take a back seat and be like, all right, I guess that's fine. But yeah, I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't feel like I was cheated, but I would definitely feel like I missed something out of my collegiate experience or college experience.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that, right? Like, everybody's having to adapt. It doesn't matter what you're in. It doesn't matter what business you're in. If you're in business, if you're in college, if you're in high school, if you're in middle school, it doesn't matter. Everybody's having to adapt, and I think depending on how you look at that, it definitely can help shape your outlook, whether that's more positive or negative. And for me, I've tried to do as much as I can and keep it positive. I started to, I was traveling all over the place. I'm gone, and now, now I'm basically stuck at home all the time. So I started doing some more reading, started doing some more walking, running, trying to get healthy, trying to get fit. Going to be able to eat some good ribs, that kind of stuff. Cooking, you know what I'm saying? So I think those things are kind of important to keep your perspective going. You know what I mean? So that you
Yeah.
don't, get too beat up or too look at it the wrong way. So
Yeah, like my wife Heidi, she was supposed to graduate in May. Now she doesn't have that. She doesn't. They do a pinning ceremony for her program. She doesn't get that. So something she's worked for 4 years to get this pinning ceremony that says, "Hey, you've done your program, you're finished, and you've passed." She doesn't get that, which it kind of sucks, but like I said, it's just part of what we're going through right now, unfortunately.
no doubt.
So let's go back to some questions. If you're sanding your ball and cleaning it, and it's not giving you the reaction you need, should you try to polish it and see what happens?
Always. I mean, it's always better to try something than to do nothing. If it isn't working, you got to try something. So absolutely. Absolutely. Surface is going to be a big portion of your ball reaction. So having the right surface, whether it's shiny or dull, but having the right surface matters a lot. So if you don't like what you got to try something different.
And I think it's also good to note, like going to practice and not being afraid to hit a ball with 1,000 grit True Cut pad or a 2,000 grit True Cut pad, and seeing what kind of reaction you get, just so you know, like, oh, this ball was awesome here at 1,000 grit or 2,000 grit. Maybe this is something I can apply to a tournament or league. So having that in the back of your mind is super important.
For sure.
Chris asked, since you both went to Purdue, did you know each other before you hired me?
No, so tell them the story. You want to tell them the story?
Sure. So I got on staff with CTD in 2016. And then when I made the show for Junior Gold, I was wearing the patch, the CTD patch. I'll never forget. I got a message from Ron that said, congrats, thanks for wearing the patch. I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. So Ron and I have had a relationship ever since then. We worked together the summer of 2017 for a little while with some testing, but yeah, that's essentially how. And once I got out of school, Ron's like, hey. But yeah. Anyways, let's see.
And I'm gonna tell you my version of that story.
All right.
So Dustin's on TV and he's wearing the patch or whatever, and I'm not watching the show, but somebody is in the staff group, and they're like, look, there's this guy, he got the CTD patch on, and we're looking around, we're like, oh snap, he got the patch on, and he's on TV. So it was like, well, who is that? And then I found out that Dustin went to Purdue, and then the head coach at the time at Purdue, I actually did go to school with and bowled with. So I knew the coach super tight. So I was like, yo, who's this dude? And he was like, oh, that's Dustin. So I was like, can you get me the intro? Is he, where's he at in school? Is he graduating? Whatever. So he was like, yeah, he's getting ready to graduate. And then boom, I was like, hey man, you want a job? So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's essentially how it was.
That's good stuff, man.
This question essentially asked how CTD is doing with the shutdown.
Great question. So CTD is doing good for two reasons. One, we've been able to weather a lot of the storm simply because we have staff and we're able to interact with them. We're able to keep communication with them, and we inherently have not over leveraged ourselves. That's probably the best way to describe it. So we haven't over leveraged ourselves on a lot of things. And because of the staff and because of not over leveraging, we're just in a sit and wait position, but we can do that for 5 or 6 years if we had to. We were going to be fine. Our company is healthy. And like I said, because we didn't over leverage ourselves, which I'm very thankful, because I almost did that. Like I was probably within a week or two of really over leveraging us, and we just didn't do it, thankfully. And now because we didn't, and now because everything stopped, there's it is what it is now. But we're in a good position. We'll be fine.
Cool.
We'll be fine.
Should I still be treating and cleaning my equipment even though we are not bowling right now?
So what I would do is this: I would clean my equipment once to make sure that it is clean, but it's not getting dirty, so there's no point in continuing to clean it. I would use this opportunity to get my bowling balls rejuvenated. I would put them in the clear and get them brought all the way back. I get them all ready, and then what I would do is I'd go put them in plastic bags that are sealable, like a Ziploc bag. Put them in plastic bags, zip it sealed tight, and then put them in your bowling bag and just let them sit until we're done. And the reason why I would say that is because by doing that, you're going to do two things. One, you're going to, first with the clear, you're going to bring the ball back to its original performance, but then you're going to keep that ball protected from three things. Sunlight, which is really bad for balls, believe it or not, and ultraviolet's actually bad too. So sunlight, ultraviolet's bad for bowling balls, but it's in your bag, right? So there's the first thing. And then the second thing is your bowling ball will dry out. Your bowling ball will dry out over time. I actually have a bowling ball. Man, I should have grabbed it out of the garage. Next time we do this, I'll show you a bowling ball that's undrilled, that's dried out. But they will dry out and they'll crack over time. It takes a long, 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 long time. But if your ball's sitting, which they all are right now, there's no point in. You might as well go ahead and protect it.
I mean,
And then
if
go
you want
ahead.
to go get it, you can.
No. I have to look for it.
Okay.
But that's two, and then three. Don't leave it on any wood, because wood actually is absorbent. Wood will actually absorb the plasticizer out of the ball, which will dry it out, which will make it more prone to crack. So those things are things that I would definitely do.
Okay. Let's see. What do you think about homemade ball rejuvenators using a box and hair dryer? I can't afford a real one.
So, not a fan of that. It's uncontrolled heat, and the way it's set up in that particular situation, you're not going to be able to properly treat the ball. You're gonna do more on one side than the other side, and that's not the way I would do it. If you're looking for the cheapest alternative, hot water. Hot water, no more than 130 degrees at the absolute max, for 45 minutes to an hour. I wouldn't do anything more than that. If you want to do it, it's going to help. Is it the best? No, but it definitely is better than doing nothing.
All right, we got a question on average, how often should I would assume he means resurface back to the factory finish.
Yeah, so what I would do, maintenance from a ball maintenance standpoint, if your ball's at say 2,000 grit, I would do the 2,000 grit with a True Cut pad every 6 games, because the surface of the ball is going to change if you don't. So I would do that every 6 games. Now, from a resurfacing standpoint, a full going through all the steps to get all the nicks and stuff out of the bowling ball. Now you're looking at more like 60, 70, 80, 90 games before you need to do that. But your surface of the bowling ball is going to change pretty aggressively as you're bowling. So if you have a dull ball and you want to keep it dull, you need to probably hit that ball every other league session, to say the least.
All right, this question is from James. He wants to know the difference between a short pin layout and a pin down layout.
So when you say short pin, that means pin close to your positive axis point,
Yeah.
which is going to be fairly rolly, fairly smooth. When you say pin down, that just means pin under the fingers, but the distance between the pin and the PAP can vary a lot. So that could be anything from a very early rolling ball to a ball that goes fairly longer or goes longer and is more back end, depending on how far that pin is from the PAP. Inherently, people use short pin layouts when they're trying to control their reaction, and the pin up or pin down, in your case, as you mentioned, that can just depend on what you're bowling on.
We had a question about the new backpack. I see you have a new backpack. As larger, I need to know if you still have the first one. Looks like suited to me. So I believe they're asking if we have the backpack in the Tournament Essentials 6, or that was in the Tournament Essentials 6 kit.
No, so the old backpack, we don't have that anymore, and the reason being is because the new backpack's about 35% bigger, and it's just a much better quality backpack. Everybody who's got the backpack, I mean, they'll tell you they love it. We've had lots and lots and lots of positive feedback on that backpack, and that's what we try to do. If you go back and look at how we started with Tournament Essentials 1, that backpack, I'll bring that one. I'll bring that one on next time too. It looks really, really bad, comparatively. Every time we do a new version, we look to improve it, and we don't change the price unless we really do something different with the products. But no, we don't have the old backpack. The new backpack is definitely a better piece for sure. Just the backpack by itself, and then it comes with some different products that come with it too. So,
All right. We have a new bowler. He says, I'm brand new, he or she, excuse me. I'm brand new to bowling. I'm looking at purchasing my first ever bowling ball. What would be your top 3 entry level recommendations? He's currently considering a Rhino.
yeah. So I mean, if you're brand new to bowling, I'm going to get you into a Rhino or a Twist. or a Tropical. Those are entry level balls. They're reactive balls. They're going to get you the fundamentals going the right direction. Big fan of all three. Pick your favorite color. If you like a scent, get the Tropical, and then have at it. At the end of the day, you got to get the fundamentals down first, and that's way more important than bowling ball selection. So at this point, Rhino, Twist, Tropical, pick your favorite one and have at it.
How would you use the pads with a drill and pad holder? I'm assuming he's talking about the PYB system.
Yeah, so I mean, with the PYB system, it fits in there fine. The PYB cup is actually made for a 6-inch pad, but it fits fine with our 5-inch pads. We also do have 6-inch pads if people are interested in that. But I mean, it's a pretty simple process. Stick the pad in the cup. It's on a Velcro system. Locks right into place. Hook it up to the drill, and move your hand up and down. Dustin's done a couple of videos that are available on our YouTube channel, as well as if you're in the group, in the Facebook group, to see how to use the PYB system.
Yep. We had a question in regards to the accessory bag, if that's coming back with the travel kit.
Yep. I know what that is. So the current accessory bag, it's sold out on the website because we only have like 3 or 4 left, and the manufacturer OGO doesn't have those available anymore. So we pulled that off the site so we don't oversell. And then one of 2 things will happen. We'll either come out with a new version of that bag, which we're actually working on, or if they do come back in stock, then we'll offer it back up again. Check my meat, Dustin. Ask a question though.
All right. He asked, have you tested the clear on cover stocks such as the Covert Tank or Covert Blitz?
Yes. So here's the thing. Covert Tank, Covert Blitz, they're essentially mild reactive balls. They do absorb oil, and that's really the key there. So because they do have some absorption properties to them, the clear works just fine on those products to bring either one of those balls back to performance. Now, if you have a purple hammer or a black hammer or a hot cell, those balls, the clear doesn't do anything to them at all, because those balls don't absorb any oil. If you can't absorb any oil, you can't absorb the material that's in the clear, you can't get the performance change. So those balls have no impact. But Tank Blitz, Covert Tank, yep, they work just fine with the clear.
Okay.
I gotta put my barbecue sauce on.
All right.
But go ahead.
Let me see here. So the question was, since Brunswick, the Brunswick and EBI acquisition, do you think that the products will be similar compared to what was made under EBI before the acquisition?
So, similar? No, I don't think so. I think the equipment that Brunswick has, the technology that Brunswick has is different. I think that Brunswick has the ability to run some of the old formulas that Ebonite has, but it's going to be on a different set of equipment. So I don't think it'll be the exact same. Similar, I would be hard pressed to say that either, because it's all about the processing of the ball. I think Brunswick will be able to differentiate those brands because they have a lot of technology, and just acquiring some new formulas will allow them to be different. So I think you're going to see some new product changes, new performance changes from those old brands. And I speak from that from experience, right? So I was at Ebonite when Ebonite bought Hammer, and we couldn't make blue hammers the way Hammer made blue hammers. I was at Ebonite when Ebonite acquired Columbia and Track, and we couldn't create Boss or Rock On type bowling balls the way they did either, because our process was different. So I don't believe that the balls will be similar from that side of things. I don't think that the Black Widow from Hopkinsville will be the same as the Black Widow from Mexico. But I believe that the Black Widow from Mexico, they will figure out how to make it good. Mm-hmm. There's more than one way to make it good, but they don't have the same process. So I think it has to be different.
Sure. How often should I apply True Cut polish?
Good question. The polish, typically I would say 6 to 9 games. You can kind of tell. It really depends on what you're bowling on. Like if your surface is really really bad, there's a surface that my father bowls on in Nashville, and it chews the balls up. He's got to do it every 3 games, like every he's done bowling. Uh, but most of the times, I would say 6 to 9 games, you put the polish on the ball. Just keep it fresh. You want to keep that. The surface it is the most important thing when it comes to reaction. Excuse me. It is the most important thing when it comes to reaction. So you want to make sure that your surface is as consistent as possible to give you a good reaction.
Don't you go to a 3-step approach when the lanes are burned up or dry?
Depends on what you're trying to do. I think uh, you may need more ball speed if the lanes are dry. And if you need more ball speed, then I wouldn't cut my steps. I'd leave them like they were, and just create more ball speed by moving my feet faster.
Yeah, it just depends how further left or right you have to get.
Yep.
How often do you use the clear?
So about 50 to 60 games. Typically when you get ready to go to a resurface or get close to a resurface, that's about how long it lasts in the ball. So 50, 60 games, put it back in the clear, and you can reuse it over and over again, so it doesn't hurt you. As long as you have the absorption pad to get the stuff off the top, keep reusing it over and over again.
Yeah, the key is definitely to keep it clean.
Mm-hmm.
That will make it last longer. Let's see. Does the BFP stay fluffy for long, or does it need to be replaced?
It's going to last you a while. You can clean it. Same process. You use some Dawn dishwashing soap in the sink. Let it put it in the washer. Let it air dry. You can use it over and over again. You'll know when it's time to replace it. Because it'll be wore out. It'll be wore out. But BFPs, you can wash them 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times depending on how you do it. But it shouldn't be anything where you won't know. Like you'll know when it's time to get a new BFP.
All right, so Benjamin asked, I'm looking for a bowling ball for mid to dry lanes. I bowl for Special Olympics Florida in September. What would you recommend for a speed dominant bowler?
So drier lanes and speed dominant gives you some options there. I'm going to go with more of a control type piece. I like high road. You want something that's a little bit less hooked than that. Maybe I would go down to a Rhino, but you're speed dominant, so probably not. Um, I'd probably stay. In mid-range type products. So high road. Uh, I would like to see maybe. Um, I can't think of the name of it. Covert tank. A tank ball may be usable in that case. And what else? There's one more ball. So here's one that's kind of different. The U motion, and the U motion is it's a urethane motion, but it's not a urethane ball. It still has a performance to it. So that ball, maybe with some surface to counteract your high ball speed, may be a good option too.
All right, this is a question from person that asked about being a new bowler, the new bowling ball. Said, I find only using 2 fingers feels much better than using them with the thumb. As a new bowler, should I push myself to learn with the thumb in, or is that not necessary?
Whatever's more comfortable. The whole deal is about being consistent. So typically without the thumb, you're going to be a little more inconsistent because you don't have that third digit to be able to control the ball. But if you practice it long enough, you can get good at it. There's plenty of bowlers that don't use their thumb.
Yeah, it's something you can repeat over and over again, which you would get by practicing. I don't see why not. Let's see. When you created the Black Widows, I fell in love with Hammer. I would like to know, will Hammer be with Brunswick? And if so, which one would you recommend? I'm assuming they're asking from the Black Widow series, which would you recommend?
So I can tell you this. I can tell you that Well, I went to a seminar and they said that Hammer was working, that Brunswick was working on using the Widow core in a ball to make a Black Widow. So I would say just hang out a little bit, wait and see what ends up happening, and then probably get the Brunswick version of the Black Widow to start with.
How many balls can one clear kit last, given you keep it clean?
So, I mean, if you keep it clean, man, you can do 40, 50, 60 balls. The whole key is they're just keeping it clean. You know, you take that absorption pad, get that stuff off the top, because basically it's going to pull the oil out and bring it to the surface. And you don't want to pull your ball back through that because your ball will absorb it again. So you use that absorption pad, get that stuff out of there, and then you can pour it right back into the jug. What I tell people a lot of times, if you want a cheap funnel, get you a water bottle, cut it in half, flip it upside down, and pour the stuff right back into the jug it came in, just to keep the clear clean. Keep it clean over and over and over again, man.
Yep. Is the new Dry Pad Pro cleanable?
Yeah, Dry Pad Pro, cleanable. Yep, we talked about that.
Yep.
Just down dishwashing detergent in the sink, rinse it out, throw it in the washer, and let it air dry.
How do you wash an absorption pad?
So the absorption pad for the clear, you can't wash those. Basically, the way it's set up is those are made to suck all the bad stuff in them, but you can't really wash that out and then reuse it. So those you have to get some more, but they're not expensive. They're a couple bucks.
How does lane shine affect spec cover stocks, and what's the best way to combat lane shine?
So the lane shine affects spec no different than any other cover stock. Bowling balls are going to shine themselves up through being used and going through the equipment. It's not any better or any worse with spec, and the only way to combat that is to service the ball, right? So if you're in a place that your ball lane shines fast, then you've got to use more true cut pads more often. If you're in a place that doesn't lane shine as fast, then you can maybe you can wait till the 6 games like we talked about. But basically, lane shine is going to happen regardless of the bowling ball you're using, because it's coming from the pin setter and the return equipment. That's what's creating all the lane shine, not so much the lane.
Sure. Since most of our leagues had to stop, do you recommend bowling in a summer league before September?
So if it was me, I would definitely either do one of two things: either join a summer league, which the bowling centers would appreciate that because they lost a month worth of revenue, so that's a good idea for sure. If you're not into doing that, then my next suggestion would be to go and do some practice. Right, I would come into the center probably a month before I would start the league and just bowl 3 games. Because here's the thing: if you wait and you take all this additional time off, your hand's going to be a little bit different. Some of your calluses are going to begin to fade. So I would definitely either join a summer league, which I plan on doing, or about a month before league starts, get in there and practice about 3 games a week.
Yeah, I think regardless, you should think about spending as much time in a bowling center as possible. Not every day, but a couple times a week, just to get yourself back into it if you decide not to bowl that summer league. What brought you to start CTD?
I didn't have a job. That's easy. I didn't have a job. I was laid off from my job at Ebonite. Didn't have a job, and thought about leaving bowling, but at the end of the day, this is all I know. So I got with my partner Ali, and we decided to try something different. We started with a backpack, actually. Put a backpack on Facebook with some products in it. Saw if anybody was interested in it. Had a lot of interest, more than we thought, and decided that we would give it a run. And it's grown from there.
Which finger gives us our lift/revs? I'm told both, but think one does more than the other.
So I would tell you that both your fingers do provide the lift.
Mm-hmm.
You should get it out of both fingers, and it should be fairly consistent from both fingers. If not, then you probably should get your fit looked at to get that to be the case.
Sure. All right, we are out of questions. Anything else?
Man, I can tell you this. I can tell you that if you're not part of Team CTD, it's a good time to join, preferably before the weekend. We got some cool things we're going to do on the weekend with our group. Also, Dustin, you're doing that Kahoot here in about another hour with the staff. That's a daily game show, so to speak. And we're kind of doing some fun stuff over there with that, too. At the end of the day, we're all going to get through all of this. We'll be better for it when it's all said and done. And I'm excited about the opportunity to get back to bowling. So
Definitely. Let me get a link here really quick. I will post it into the chat of the video. If you're not on staff with us, you could easily just go to this link, and it will take you to the website, hit regional staff sign up, and then you'll be able to see the application form.
yeah, I saw we got couple more questions real quick. So Mark had asked, does CTD product work with the new balls that Rhino and Ryan are part of? So talking about big bowling, they're reactive balls. Yes, our products work fine with them, just like any other company's reactive balls. And then Kahoot, Charlie, Kahoot is a interactive game show. Dustin actually is the host of that. He actually hosts it inside of our private staff group, and it's an opportunity for the staff to win some prizes. And then we're doing a contest right now where they can, if they keep playing every day, they can get a big prize at the end. So it's just a way to interact with the staff. It's very educational because we put questions in there that are about bowling. What's tonight's theme, Dustin?
Movies.
So tonight's theme is movies. So we're gonna do movies tonight, but it's basically trivia. It's basically a interactive trivia game. So pretty cool. A lot of fun. Love to see you out there.
Yeah, definitely. So, hope you all have an awesome night. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been awesome. We'll definitely do this again in the future. Anything else, Ron?
Man, that's it. Dustin, you stay safe. I'll see you in an hour. We're going to get on this Kahoot, and somebody's going to get challenged, and they're going to lose. And if they win, then they get something for free.
Yep. All right. We'll talk to y'all later. Have an awesome night.
Thanks.